Alright, there we go. Took a few refresh, but we're here now. Oh no, not McAfee Security. What the hell? What the hell? No, it's not loading at all. There we go. No? It's like every time I try to touch something, it just refreshes. All I know is that now we're at the trial. That's all I know. We're not quite there yet, but we're there, you know? Pretty much at the end. And since it says 4-1, I'm feeling like there's going to be a part 2. It could be even a part 3 to this trial. I don't know. So let's just not expect it to end right here, I guess. Would be the logical conclusion to draw. So far, we know who the culprit is. I mean, we kind of already knew, but we know who the culprit is. It's, I gotta look at the names again, but Tiger Guy. I can't look from this screen. Okay, here we go. So, this guy did it because he owes money to this guy, right? And I'll just say the names. Furio owes money to Bruto because he got into a car accident with Viola with this bike right here. She was in the car. So he had to pay off the damages, right? And he's a loan shark guy, basically. Oh, we don't have the paper anymore because we gave it away because we didn't need it to figure out what was going on. But yeah. So he needed money to pay off this guy because he injured her. And he's pretending to be her lover, but he doesn't really like her. He's just worried about Bruto coming after her, right? So he used the help of Glenn Elg, the victim, to get some money, basically, right? He was saying, oh, you owe me like $100,000. But then he was like, hey, I actually can program and I can make this CD for you that's worth $500,000. And of course, Furio being the kind of guy he is, he kills him and then takes the money. But Viola says she helped him. I'm not really sure how. And Gene Armstrong also says he helped too. He's the owner of the restaurant where the murder occurred. Now, we still don't know who exactly killed him, but I know that Furio is the one who is most directly involved, and Viola might have helped, and John might have helped too. And Maggie is being framed, but we already knew she didn't do anything. Okay. Alright, we're good now. Gotta go check on my dog. Okay. Water, everything's here. Cool. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well. Ended on a giant mystery. That's true. We still haven't solved a single part of it yet. You okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No. That wasn't doubt. That was, determination. Why don't I believe you? It's early time, or nearly time, Maggie. You better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger. Don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. It looked like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this will help. I was waiting on this, bro. Here we go. So this is what they put in the coffee that poisoned Glen Elg. Have you taken on up aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of the aromatherapy bottles. Exactly, it was the one that looked different, Phoenix. Come on, now lock in, bro. This is the small bottle that turned up in Trace Bean's kitchen a couple days ago. Well, look at all these little bottles. Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many. They're overflowing onto the floor. Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others. Well, what do you know? Oh, well, what do you know? And it doesn't have a label either. I get how he was singing. He was singing it whimsically, but I kept reading it like a question. And it doesn't smell. Well, we finally got an analysis result back from the lab. So what is it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. So this is what was missing from that bag, which makes sense. I think I might have guessed that too, just because of the color coordination, because it's green, and the bag right here is green too. And plus, the nurse, or the guy who runs the store, he's been stealing a lot of stuff. He stole the Makatama, he stole a poetry book that I'm pretty sure isn't his. I don't know if he stole it really, but because Mr. Kudo likes to write haikus, and he has a book with a bunch of them in it, he probably stole that from him. He's a kleptomaniac. For ears, you mean? Yeah, it's the medication Glen Elg was using from his ruptured eardrum, for his ruptured eardrum. What are Glen Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? Small bottle of the victim's ear medicine found covered in unidentified fingerprints in the kitchen. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Any of that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour, and they might have gotten something on the prints, but it's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is unimpregnable today. Got it? So here's what I'm thinking is going to happen. To keep this as a part 2 at the end of this trial, I'm going to guess that, or at the end of this first half of the trial, Armstrong isn't going to, is going to get caught on having the bottle in the kitchen, but Godot's going to be like, well, his fingerprints aren't on it, and then Gumshoe's going to save us at the last second to be like, okay, I'm going to take it to get examined, and so we got to stall in the trial until he gets back to prove that Armstrong's DNA is on the bottle. It might not even be his, but I'm assuming that it is. Today's trial, I'm going to expose that guy for what he's done, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Okay? Court is now registered for the trial of Maggie Birdie. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor. Very good. Then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank from it with his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Godot. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. And the victim's left eardrum was ruptured. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. I forgot to check my audio, by the way. I'm going to do that real quick. Alright, we're good. It's amazing how many contradictions in a single case can have, huh, Nick? Ha! Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. You've lost me already, Mr. Godot. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You gotta change with the times. That's one of my rules. You're finding you resolve these contradictions? You know the answers to these riddles? The only guy, the old guy, wasn't just throwing a seed in here. He was throwing us off the scent. And today I'll prove it. Oh, so he's saying Kudo was in on it and he was trying to distract. But we know Kudo, at least according to him, he was sent away to go call for the police. So he has no idea what was happening. He's the one who got, pushed away from the scene. He's not the one pushing away. Very well. The first witness, take the stand. It's gotta be Jean. I knew it. Eventually he had to come up here. And you are? Oh, bonjour, everyone. I am Jean Armstrong, the owner and head chef of La Tribulations restaurant, Enchanté. We haven't been asking witness, but are you a woman? Ooh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am le pert and perky gentleman. Non? On the day of the incident, you were in Tribulations' kitchen. Isn't that right? Was your monsieur? What? Bro, stop. Everything feels right. Ha. Would you he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Why would this intimidate him, right? Very well, your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tribulations. We, volunteers. I suppose that means happily. When it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art deco that day. Like having a large mirror between la tables, for example. Perhaps that is what la old man was looking at. La cup, la earpiece, and la glasses. It would have seen everything in reverse, non? Mirror? I didn't notice a mirror. Un grand mirror. La most enormous mirror. And suddenly the mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to happen to me. Rather than try, you may be getting cross-examination. I'm gonna assume we gotta present the floor plans, but I don't think on the floor plans it shows anything about a mirror. Am I wrong? Nah, just the chairs and the table. There's no mirrors here. Unless the window was reflecting back. But I highly doubt that. Okay. When it happened, there were just two customers in the restaurant. Okay. Who were the 2 customers exactly? My is, of course, la young man who died, and la other, not so young man. So you're referring to yesterday's witness, I presume. What about the other man Maggie saw, or says she saw at the table? Someone tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence. We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we? I guess I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being. Remember I was experimenting with some new art decorations that day. You were experimenting with art decorations. How come I never heard about that the day before? Or that before today? You are not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur. Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before? But I did just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decorature? No, no. Art Deco. It is a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design, walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing. Oh yes, of course, the deco. I was just trying to achieve a more effeminate look for my restaurant. I was planning the most bold remodeling of the decor. Like having a mirror between the tables, for example. How big of a mirror are we talking about here? Oof. Something about 4 meters wide and about 2 meters high. Let's see, if 1 meter is about a yard. Holy glass in a frame. That's huge. I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually. The ceiling? Was that a mirror, or was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. Mas non. But I decided not to go through with it in the end. What should I do? Should I ask him more about the mirror or not? I should have pressed him. So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in the mirror. No, fuck that. We're gonna go and press this a little bit more. If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. There's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimonies. What? You didn't ask, right? You have only yourself to blame for such sloppy work. What? A mirror was delivered to Chespian the day before the incident. Really? As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he did actually use the mirror in the end. Or didn't actually use the mirror in the end. This just doesn't add up. Even if the mirror was delivered to Chespian, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime. Ha. If you want to doubt someone, Trite, look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough. So the witness yesterday has seen the victim reflected in a mirror. Yes, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. Normally, I expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object. Normally, how does normality come into this? That's lame, Trite, even for you. Huh? Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is it? Is that it? Where does that leave the porky-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask over here? Well, Trite, I guess it's a good point he's making. We all look a little weird, and I'm over here talking about that's not possible for there to be something over there. Not the hair. I do not have a top knot. Mr. Godot is correct. A lack of normality is no basis for counting an argument. In the end, logic has won the day. Like up the earpiece and the glasses, he would have seen everything in reverse. No? Everything you would have seen, everything, he would have seen everything in reverse. Hey Nick, we should take a second and think about what old CD said in his testimony. How did he phrase it again? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side of the green lens on his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, no doubt about it. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. If he saw everything described reflected in the mirror, then everything he said he saw on the left would actually be on the right, huh? Exactly. If he saw everything reflected, then the earpiece and the, will be on the opposite side. And that clears up all the problems with the testimony, I guess, or does it? It's kind of hard to believe everything's the fault of the mirror, but do you think old CD saw everything through through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony. But that just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's got to be something in this old man's testimony. We've just got to dig deeper. So are they saying I want to use the testimony to argue? Well, I'm gonna go with Glenn, because see how he's on the left side. Everyone that says he had it on the left, including the old man, if he saw everything from the mirror, then he would have said it was on the right, and he didn't. I should have fucking saved, but we got it right. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's statement for a second, shall we? The boy was wearing an earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, no doubt about it. So to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the piece were not the victims, or were on the victim's left side. Now, Mr. Kudo saw all that in a reflection in a mirror. Means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactament. You see, Manjor, now that you think about it, it is not so hard. None? Unfortunately, that's where we ran into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order. Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's earpiece to have been over his right eye. How bitter. Try to should have a taste of bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are you talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks? You remember this, I presume. The I broke the vase, sorry, apology, you mean Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Yeah. The old man was one very grievous hazard other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And that's the most striking thing about Mr. L. Clearly, it's the victim's earpiece or eyepiece. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. L's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear. Well, try it. That's the worst but best impression of Kudo ever. Wow. I really thought he was old CD for a minute there, but that's good. Enough. Unless yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of the contradiction you found is just, what? Or just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears. New testimony, I guess? Wait, I can explain, please, if you look at the plans of the restaurant. Okay, cool. It's gonna fix up the floor plans for us. Allures, is everyone sitting comfortably? A mirror is in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There is one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. That is the seat as the table next to the victims. That was where the old man was sitting. After a terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. That's not true. You took one of the tickets. We know you did. I see no problems with this explanation we have just heard. From the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. Do we have the other ticket? That's the victim's ticket. Oh, and he took this small bottle, but we can't prove that. But it was found in the kitchen. We could definitely present it, though. But we don't have the other ticket. Interesting. What a naughty little coquette I am. Confusing all the men like this. Don't worry about it. We can keep up except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat every or over there again. I hate that guy. You say you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volunteers, of course. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you please. The mirror is in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. Okay. So run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? We? Really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way. Look who's talking, Trite. Huh? You're restricting my view, among other things. But this is my seat in the courtroom. Chespian's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in the spot where it would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, Trite. I tell you, Monsieur, La Mirror was there in the middle of the restaurant. There was only one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. And where would that be? Ooh la la, look how you lean towards me. I was always attracted to younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones too. Handsome. Shall I tease you too? I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I am afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. I bet she has mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. Good one. Ben, I will tell you, there was only one seat from which you could have seen. That was the seat at the table next to the victim. That was where the old man was sitting. So you can only see the victim from that particular seat. As Monsieur, it is obvious, son. If you look at the plans, you will understand. The victim would have been reflected in the mirror like so. So if you were sitting at the table next to him, you would see everything, none. So that's the old CD was sitting in on that day when the poisoning happened. The old man was sitting at the table next to the victim. Why does that seem kind of odd? After the terrible accident occurred, I moved the mirror so that it was not in the way. You just moved the mirror while Mr. Trudeau was off calling the police? Oui, exactement. I carried it out of the restaurant then. You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself. What can I say? I know how to pick things up, handsome. Can I actually laugh at something? Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. He has huge freaking arms, so I can see it. Probably the largest person in the room. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong? Do I look like the oblinging what type? What? What are you saying, bro? But naturally, I did not touch anything else. I don't believe that. Are you sure about that? I touched nothing except the mirror. Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match the crime scene? Yeah, there is. I just can't put my finger on what exactly. Suffer from a case of heartburn, right? Oh, I have just the thing for that. An oil with golden myrrh and frankincense? What? Add a few drops to your coffee and voila. Enjoy, Phoenix. Focus, Phoenix. Believe. Oh, he would have said try, not Phoenix. My fault. Focus, Phoenix. Breathe. I need to ignore those two and just find some evidence. It's pretty strange, though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. You think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old Seedy. The only logical explanation is that there was no mirror inside Trespian that day. I just gotta prove it somehow. So I went through all that because I know there's a treasure if I get like all of his different sayings. But I'm pretty sure it's this statement right here. Right? That was the seat and the table next to the victim. That was where the old man was sitting. Okay? Now, I'm pretty sure there was a vase that he knocked over. Right? I don't know if there's a picture of that somewhere. Well, if he was sitting here, the vase would have been knocked over. But in this picture, it's not. So it's probably this right here. Because they're saying he was sitting here, but he knocked the vase over. And when he took this picture, it was after the crime was committed, right? So let me save. But I'm pretty sure I got this. Okay. This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we have heard, Your Honor. Crime photo. Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist? Sounds like you're describing yourself, Wright. That's fucked up. Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is this something that should not exist in this photo? It's the vase right here. Push the wrong button. I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture. The vase. What possible connection does that have to do with this witness's testimony? Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. And I'm pretty sure he testified about it. Yep. When the incident occurred, I broke the vase at my seat. I'm sorry. That's it. There is one thing that clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet the court can see there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all. Don't be an idiot, right? That's impossible. The seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Trespian that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mondui. Don't try to confuse the court, right? Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene. Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Usher already testified to the contrary in his own words. I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Got him. He did say that. Well, witness, what do you say? What do you have to say for yourself? I was right. There is no mirror in the restaurant that day. In light of the revelation, we returned back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in his ear, in an ear in which he couldn't hear? You only get one shot in life. There is no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trank, then the problem is all yours. Can you explain how do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it. Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us. There was another man at the victim's table, and there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. Nah, the ear doctor didn't make a mistake. Kudo didn't make a mistake. The victim was a phony. Maybe he was pretending like his ear was hurting. Why? I don't know. But he might have been pretending. Let's save though, because we're going to lose fucking 3 bars for this. Which is insane. Let's see how he explains this. This case is riddled with contradictions. And there's one very simple answer that clears them all. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced, they were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Oh. So Glenn was already dead before, and I guess Furio was pretending to be him, but because he was pretending to be him, he had the coffee mug in the wrong hand, and he had the earpiece in the wrong ear. Oh shit! I didn't read the thing. Obviously, unlike the victim, there is nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. That's pretty crazy, though. Yeah, we got you, didn't we? You thought he had a little rebuttal, but you don't. You don't. Order in the court, settle down, or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Trotter, are you saying that Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elgin acting out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Victor Kudo. Damn. Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? That's a good question. Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was the servant girl brought him a Javicino, but she put something in it. That's the servant girl right there at the defendant's chair. I remember her well. It's so hard to believe, but there was only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Birdie in the act of poisoning the coffee. Are you considering that the waitress is in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but it's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. So that's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you should have known about it, correct? Wow, this is most difficult for me. It's not difficult. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there in fact a phony at Trace PM that day? The defense demands that Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. The defense requests for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. He's not going to do that. He's going to lie some more. The victim, Mansour El, came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. But he got word he won the lottery. El became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. There was no time for a phony to do the acting. Are you sure about that? Okay. So we're clear there was no mirror in the restaurant after all. Je vous demande pardon, forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly. That didn't help anything, bro. What you have just done is committed perjury, Mr. Armstrong. We'll decide how to punish you later. For now, we will hear your cross-examination, Mr. Wright, if you please. I took that perjury charge a bit too well. I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. In the restaurant. The victim, Mansour El, Mr. El, came to the restaurant alone. Okay. Was he alone at his table as well? Mas, I saw it in from the kitchen. Yet the defendant, Miss Maggie Birdie, remembers it differently. She swears that there was another man at the table. Unfortunately for you, Trent, yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. That's true. You know, seeing you squirm like this, that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee has he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. Alone? The old man, you mean Victor Coudeau, correct? Oui. He comes often for my special coffee. I drew coffee once with Strong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, Mansour. You were most welcome anytime. I said it was worth one sip and nothing more. So old Mr. Coudeau arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. She asked more about his arrival in more detail. Yeah. Let's see how many minutes after. So you're saying that not much time elapsed. Hold on. Okay. So you're saying that not much time elapsed between when the victim and Mr. Coudeau arrived. Oui, that is correct. But that still leaves the possibility that something happened in the gap of time. And by your recollection, how much time would you say elapsed? Let me see. Approximately 2 minutes, I would say. 2 minutes. That's all? It seems unlikely that anything untoward could have happened in such a short time. Last time I did something like this, I couldn't ask the second question, so I'm going to hope that I still have that option after this. Rats. I knew I shouldn't have pursued the line of questioning. They'll probably still give me the option based on how that went. Let me see. Here we go. What time was it? I had curiosity about what time was it when Mr. Coudeau arrived. Oh no, I cannot remember, Mansour. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. Crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened around 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10 p.m., none? Just after 2, huh? Thank you for help. And jogging my memory, Manzoor. You are wonderful. I can sit. Oh, I ruined that. Okay. I'm going to pause it and see if I catch it. I can sit here all the time and what? Bro. Not that it matters too much. I still want to read it, though. Oh. Whatever. It's too quick. I pressed X too quick. It is what it is. A time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Humans are judge. Everything I do it for you. Mercy bien, that's French, isn't it? I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. Probably singing the French national anthem. My dog's at my door, hold on. Alright. I remember the old man arrived around, okay. Cool, let's fix that. There were no other customers, press them. So, your only customers were Mr. Kudo and the victim? How many times do you need to ask the same thing, Trite? You better catch me, or you never catch me drinking the same blend twice. I don't know about that. You're trying to establish the presence of a phony victim in the restaurant, but you're wasting your time. You can't grind bird seed to make coffee. You catch my drift. But there's a hole in his testimony somewhere. I'm sure of it. When he got word he won the lottery, Elle became very excited. Did you see him? No, I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember him shouting, yes, $500,000. Presumably the defendant heard that too. Incorrect? Maggie? She looked like a poor little frightened dove. What about Mr. Cadeau? The old man choked on some bird seeds that stuck in his throat. And it seems we now have yet another incident on our hands. And approximately 5 minutes later, that the poisoning incident occurred. Okay. What were you doing at that point? Without any millionaires, or what? Without any customers, you must have had time to kill. I am a multi-talented woman, Manzoor. Sorry, what do you mean? There's the renowned chef John Armstrong and the tragic poet Clarence Armstrong. Clarence? Well, yeah, I was writing a poem. an angry tale of chef and $500,000 on debt, cooking for a man who won $500,000 on a lottery. It was called Pourquoi? It means why. Perhaps I could recite it for the court. Please don't. I kind of wanted to hear it. There was no time for a phony to do last. You mean you contacted the police as soon as the incident occurred? I asked the old man to call for a payphone. For your own argument, or by your own arguments, right? The purpose of this phony victim's performance was so the old man could see it. In other words, once the incident occurred, this opportunity would completely disappear. Indeed. Bien. La shadow of doubt has been lifted. What? I guess it's possible now that I think about it that Maggie saw Furio and thought he was Glenn Elg, even though he wasn't. Clearly wasn't. And then when she came back to the table, the actual Glenn Elg was there dead. Just like how she didn't know that Furio was not Phoenix, who was pretending to be him during the first time they ran this trial. Bien. It seems the shadow of doubt has been lifted. I don't know what that says, bro. I guess Mr. Armstrong is connected to this case, huh? Absolutely. Someone was impersonating Mr. Elg, and I refuse to believe he was oblivious. He was there the whole time, after all, so that's how he helped. He helped by getting Kudo out of the building, and Viola helped by pretending to be the waitress. But if you're right, wouldn't Maggie have noticed too? She fell unconscious when the incident occurred, remember? You mean that's when the phony staged his act? Well, we'll know for sure once I find a hole in his testimony. Okay. Let's think. Because we're talking about this right here. But it's at 1:30 p.m. And he's saying the old man arrived not long after him at 2. 30 minutes is actually kind of long. So is that it? Especially in this game, 30 minutes is a long time. We'll see what Phoenix says. I'll probably get it wrong. Oh. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. Qui, what do you mean? At the time of questioning, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. At least that must have been the show Mon Elg was listening to. I can't see any problem with the testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder. You said the victim arrived at the restaurant around 2 p.m., correct? Oui, I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. Now, I know it was the time because I had just finished serving a lunch menu. Get to the point, right? You only have one, if you have one. That show is broadcasted live at 1:30 p.m. and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on air at 1:30. Now, supposedly the victim made some noise when he was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy would have occurred after 2 p.m. because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by the point in time. The victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listen to a radio with the rupture eardrum, catching a show that was already over, Then only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. The victim was an imposter acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were two Glen Elgs at Trespian that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer, and the phony Glen Elg acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. It certainly seems that way. Okay, I get it. So Maggie actually did bring the coffee to Glen Elg, and he died. Or, yeah, I guess he had already died. But I'm confused though. I guess they're saying she brought him the coffee. No, because the coffee spilt on her. So she was bringing the coffee. She hadn't brought the coffee yet. And then she passed out. Viola brought the coffee. And that was the poison coffee because you know she'd be poisoned and stuff. And then Glen Elg died, right? But Kudo was so distracted by the waitress and the uniform, he never noticed Glenn was dead. Swap happens. Maggie finally gets to the table finally. And then there's the real Glenn on the table, dead. Right? Or he died forever ago and there was an imposter at the table. But Maggie says she saw two people, so she had to have seen them both alive. I'm sure she would have noticed one of them being dead, right? I don't know. It certainly seems that way. I mean, if it wasn't the case, how could you possibly explain this discrepancy, the time discrepancy? Quite a performance, Trey. You're almost on a roll. Almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this, Music Theory 101? Let's recap according to your imaginative theory. It's now just after 2 p.m. The phony elk is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain then where the real Glenn is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court, however. At the time, the real Glen Elg was already dead. That's certainly the obvious conclusion. Thank you, Trite. Exactly what I was hoping you would say. Armstrong must have distracted Maggie so she couldn't get back to the table in time, I guess. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours. Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other person there. If the customer was the phony Glen Elg, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? Exactly. That's what I'm trying to figure out, bro. I don't know. Prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theories stand up to the examination by the court, you must provide us with the proof by answering the prosecution's question. Let's save just in case they make me pull some shit up. Where did the killer hide the body? Oh boy. Oh yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, right? Let's hear some facts for once. So the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence? Put the intense pressure in here all of a sudden. Okay. Must have been inside the building. Maybe it was in the kitchen. Because that's where the small green bottle was, and that's the bottle that had the medication, right? So it must have been on the victim. I thought I had him with a contradiction. But he turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Alright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body? The real Elg was concealed. Okay. Had to be in Trespian. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the victim must have been hidden somewhere inside Trespian. Interesting. But where could the body have been inside a restaurant? Perhaps you can care to show the court on these plans. Yes, Your Honor. exact location, the kitchen. The body was hidden here. I see. Nice supposition, but the real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in the location? Fuck, bro. And I was saying the bottle, so that's where it was. The victim's ear medicine, found covered in unidentified fingerprints in the kitchen. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? None. I have never seen such ugly bottle before in my life. Liar. I only use the La Very Best bottles, Monsieur. The highest quality only for me. Where was this bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, was found in the kitchen of Trespian. Oh, queen. I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. This bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. L visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense has the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. Contents of the bottle match the prescription that was given to Mr. L. Mr. L's murderer hid the body in the kitchen, at which time the bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Yes, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You had a fine opportunity to defend my client, Maggie Bird, however. You were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. Gotcha. Hey, you better come clean. You're going to jail for murder, bro. Order. This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenelg? Never. I could not do such a horrible thing. No! Mr. Godot. The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? So I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I take the time, or I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear with H deficient friend? Je vous demande pardon. Please, you must hear me out. There's a trap. Listen to me. Por favor. God bless an old Mr. Armstrong. And por favor in Spanish. Por favor is Spanish. I'm only asking you once. Did you do it? None. Absolutely not. Let's hear it. We got one shot, right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you this chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. As does my gavel. It is clear. What do they always say in the movies? I got a bad feeling about this. Okay, well, begin your testimony, Mr. Armstrong. Dude, I'm in so much pain, it's insane. His tray hid the body in the kitchen. The man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there's no reason why I could not be fused. But I did not kill him. I swear you must believe me. Okay? You were forced? By who? Cannot say, or I will be erased. Let's try a different question then. When Mr. L died, was he really the only person at his table? There was. So was another man. There we go. I knew it. We all knew that, though. I knew it. Mike was telling the truth. We cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's only one thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. It is true I had a little body in the kitchen. Man forced me to do it, I had no choice. I gotta press everything, my fault. Did you carry the body by yourself? I carried him, and I carried Maggie too. Maggie too? When she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there. But why did you hide the bodies? When I forced him to do it, I had no choice. What man? Who was he? No, I cannot say. I fear for my life. He's really scared. You just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick. You're right. If you won't tell me, I'll tell him. So why would you go along with this man? I had to go along with him because I had no reason why I could not refuse. What would that reason be, Mr. Armstrong? You know, Manzor. Yes? Sure, you're not expecting me, a young maiden, to talk about such an embarrassment. You are 39. A maiden. You're a bit old to get away with that. Exactly. A bit too male. I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason. So I just have to prove it with evidence. If I did not kill him, I swear you must believe me. So you were claiming that all you did was hide the body, is that correct? That's right. Oh shit, my freaking Siri activated because of me using his accent. Wow. If we are to believe you, Mr. Armstrong, you must tell the court everything. You must make clear that none of the other man who ordered you to do this. He already confessed this much. He might as well stop dancing around the real issue. Yeah, but he doesn't want to tell us who the killer is. Then sock it in him, Nick. That's not a bad idea. So which statement is it? Oh. Gotta be this then. A man forced me to do it and then we just show Furio. You save again. Listen to this dance of Ring Around the Rosie, Mr. Armstrong. This is the man you've been referring to. Who was that? I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. I don't know, maybe a month ago in this very courtroom. This man is Furio Tigre. He's the manager of the loan office called Tinderlender. There's no point trying to hide the truth anymore, Mr. Armstrong. You couldn't go against Mr. Tigre. At least not while he had this on you. Right here, we've been waiting to use this one. A $500,000 loan from the black market loan shark. You had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you. Read it as you say. Mr. Armstrong, the tiger, he told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting a victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know what happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body I carried the body and the unconscious Maggie out of the dining area. Into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget that I had seen. And we can now safely say that the man who forced his hand on was Mr. Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison lottery ticket that was found in the victim's apron pocket, was that your doing as well? No, that had nothing to do with that. Making it look like it was Maggie had done it. I was not. It is despicable. True. Mr. Godot, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. Doubt that can be arranged today, so we'll adjourn for now. Seems we'll continue tomorrow. God damn. You got him? 30 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I will see to it myself. Need half an hour to get that guy on the stand, not a minute more. How the? Sit back and relax, Trite. How was he going to do that? No one knows if the chef is really telling the truth or not. The trial could still go either way. Very well. The request is granted, Mr. Dot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre has ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for 30 minutes recess. There we go. I'm glad it's over because I am in so much pain right now, bro. I needed that shit to end. I would do the next part, but I'm hurting too much. We'll do it tomorrow.